I snooped through my husband's phone while I was asleep, and I thought he cheated on me, so I cheated back. Now, I broke the news to him, and I'm begging for him to stay with me. I, 28F, have been together with my husband, 33M, for over 6 years. We have been married for 4 years, and we have a 20-month-old son together. We met through a friend's home party and connected almost immediately. He started talking to me first. From the moment I met him, he was incredibly handsome, very confident, and charming. I knew several of the girls, including some of my friends, wanted to talk to him when we were there, but within the first 10 minutes of arriving at the party, he came over to me. I really don't know any perfect word to use of how I felt at that moment, but if I had to pick one, I felt almost chosen by him. We started dating a few days after, and the more time we started spending together, the more I started to fall for him. I have always had the feeling of him being completely out of my league, but after meeting him, he never really made me feel unsure that he wanted to be with me. I knew beforehand he had been with plenty of women, but it didn't really bother me because he never spoke of it or ever mentioned it. The few times I asked him if he really wanted a relationship or if he was sure about us, he always told me he loved me, and that he does not care about other women. After 2 years, we ended up getting married. We tried having a child and got a beautiful son. He always wished to have a son and a daughter, and we were planning on having another child. I always loved my husband more than anyone can imagine. But after giving birth, I gained a bit of weight. He always told me he didn't care and that he loved me no matter what. He suggested I could start training with him, as he goes to the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week, and that we could start this as an activity together. I always said yes, but we never ended up going together for several different reasons. He never got out of shape and regularly went training in the gym without trying to invite me there. As time moved on and the baby was taking most of our time, our lovemaking life got less and less active, but he always assured me that he was still attracted to me. Most of the time, he would try to initiate lovemaking, but I would turn it down, mostly because of myself and because I was insecure about my body and myself around him. This is still a huge regret for me. He even told me we could leave the baby at our parents', his or mine, to get alone time, but for some reason, I kept neglecting him. My self-esteem kept getting worse and worse, and he was trying to cheer me up and encourage me. When we would go out somewhere, I could see other women looking at him or trying to make eye contact with him, and it would bother me and I would tell him about it. And every time, he would assure me he only loved me. One day, as he came home from long work hours at the hospital, he went straight to bed, telling me he was exhausted. I started looking into his phone and looking in his Instagram and Messenger messages, and I could see several chats with different women, some of whom I know are his ex-girlfriends. He had been asked to go meet for a coffee, or if they would want to meet up somewhere just as friends, but he'd always turned them down. I even saw archived messages of an ex who had messaged him out of the blue and asked if he wanted to meet up for good times, which we all know what she was talking about. He had responded with "I have a wife" and blocked her. I really don't know why, but in my head, I started making up that he must have been cheating on me with at least one of these girls. I ended up contacting an ex-boyfriend who I hadn't talked to for years. One thing led to another, and we met up at a hotel close by. At first, I just wanted some sort of payback, but as we ended up making love, I was filled with incredible regret. This all happened during the day, and my husband was at work and had no idea, not even the slightest suspicion. It took me 3 days, and as he came home one day, we were in front of the television. I burst out crying and told him everything. He just kept looking at me but didn't say a single word. Then he went upstairs and locked the door to our bedroom. I followed him and was crying at the door, but he didn't say a single word to me. It took him a long time, but he finally came out but immediately left the house, and I haven't heard a single word from him. He didn't even say anything to me when leaving, and he was not even looking at me. I have tried to call him hundreds of times, but he still hasn't responded, and I have no idea where he has gone. This all happened yesterday, and I haven't heard a word from him. I'm scared to contact his or my own family because I am scared for them to find out. I really don't know what to do, and just want to save my marriage. I have an incredible feeling of disgust and regret, and I don't even know why I didn't trust him. I know most of this roots down in my own insecurities, but I just want my husband back. He has left me alone with our baby. How can I get in contact with him? What can I do to save my marriage? Update 1. My life has been completely ruined. I hate myself more than anything, and I just wish I can get my husband back. I really don't know how to move on from here. He came home for a few hours yesterday before packing up and leaving again. When he finally came home, he didn't say anything, went straight to our son, and refused to say a word to me even though I kept crying. He told me he wanted some alone time with our son. At first, I thought he came to see our son and later wanted to discuss things, but after some time, he started packing a bag and I panicked. I started crying and begging him to stay and to talk about it. I took the advice of being completely transparent and told him I would tell him everything he asked, but he just stood up, looked at me in a disgusted, cold way and told me, "I don't want to know anything, I know all that I need to know." Then he just went over and took some more things to put in the bag. I completely panicked and started saying I love him and will do anything to get him back. That I had stopped the lovemaking midway because I felt guilty. In the middle of that sentence, he pushed me to the wall and held my arm and screamed, "I told you to shut the F up." I have never seen him so angry and disgusted, and for a moment, I thought he would hit me, but he never did. I tried to hug him, but he refused to touch me and told me I am used and broken to him now, and that he wants nothing to do with me. This completely broke me inside. I asked what this meant, and he said we will be getting divorced. The only thing he wants right now is to be able to meet our son whenever he wants, but other than that, he wants nothing to do with me. Later the same night, he called me on the phone and told me he will be contacting a lawyer and that he wants a divorce. I don't know what will happen now. I have been crying constantly since this all happened. I'm having panic attacks, and I can't eat or sleep. He saw me completely broken, but he still wants nothing to do with me and wants a divorce. I have so much remorse. I feel a constant pressure in my chest, as if I'm having cramps in my stomach. I still haven't been able to contact our families, and I don't know if he has either. I am too embarrassed to do that. I just want my life back. I really can't imagine seeing a life without him or him being with another woman. My life has crashed into a million pieces, and I am just trying to pick them up and glue them together. Has anyone been able to convince their partner to come back? Is there anything I can do? I want to disappear, but I can't for the sake of my son. I hate myself more than you can imagine. I know how disgusting and stupid I am, and trust me, I am paying the price. I just want advice on how I can get him back.